I am a reluctant salesman at this point
Because you own a business.
because I'm self-employed, so I have to sell what I know. And after when I'm dealing with a client, I'm actually writing a proposal right now for a major deal. When I'm dealing with a potential client, eventually after all the pleasantries and all the discussion, I will ask the following question. I will ask them, what is the problem statement? What problem do you have? And then as I assess, the details of the problem statement, then I will go and reach back into my toolbox and see if I have something that they can use to repair their situation, and then that's kind of the fit assessment, and then from there we continue. But until I know what is their problem statement, there's very little I can do. I mean, because I'm not going to talk about my toolkit until I understand their problem, and that's how I begin a sales conversation.
I love that, but I want to push you a little bit.
Okay.
In your opinion, when you look at an HR department, right, is there a benchmark, or are there things that you look for to tell you that it's operating effectively or not?
Yeah, I mean, I can take a look, and through connections and networking and so forth, I can assess their situation before I go in. I do as much research as possible before I sit down. But once they start talking, I will immediately, because that's what I do, I will immediately see when there are gaps in their situation, and then I will see if I have a tool or a process.
Can you stand up? You're going to help me make a great point here, okay? What you're talking about is solution selling. It's the second most effective way to sell.
Missed the first already.
You missed the first, okay, but you're going to have it right now, okay? So, and Dave, we talked about this yesterday. So the reality is, great solution salespeople will say, I'll diagnose it, I'll ask them, and then I'll align the solution, okay? The next step up, that top 6%, what they'll say is, when I look at HR departments in manufacturing organizations like yours, here's how I know they're operating effectively. They recruit like this, they implement this type of policy, they're able to do these things, and this is what they're at. You set a benchmark, and you say, how would you rank your organization? Do you feel like you're in there or not? What does that do for you?
Absolutely, yeah. It's a totally different approach, yeah.
That's the whole idea between what we call the Miller-Heiman sales model and challenger sale. The objective is, you as the practitioner, you are the value proposition. You as the practitioner sets what we call the benchmark to measure against. Do you have a mobile workforce? Are you using these things? When you look at, Sean, when I look at ITX and I look at all of the white papers that you guys put out, you get it. You set benchmarks every time. The 8 things to know to transition website browsers to convert. Everything with ITX is all about setting a benchmark and saying, are you guys doing this? That's the difference, right? When you look at, a young lady sent me some LinkedIn email a couple days ago, and she took a job, she's a personal fitness trainer, and she took a job as a salesperson, and she said, I don't get this whole sales thing, right? This is awful. And I said, well, when you meet a new person that you're going to train, do you ask them, and I took a few minutes and I said, do you ask them about their goals for appearance and health that they're trying to accomplish within the next 6 months? Do you ask them that? No. What if you did? What if you said, someone at your age and your height, you should be at this level of fitness, your heart rate should be here, and your body comp should be here. Can we get there?
Joe, I was just going to add that what really struck me when first exposed to this is, you look and you say, oh, geez, that's why I've been doing it wrong. When you look at the fourth circle there in terms of the technical feasibility, like you said, we do it in the reverse. There's been so much training throughout my career in terms of how to ask questions, and you have to ask questions and open-ended and that sort of thing, that you dive right into the, I got to ask all my questions here, tell me about this and how that, and there hasn't been any frame around why am I asking them and why should you give me the opportunity to even ask these, why invite these, what credibility do I have? So the whole benchmarking and positioning statement and everything frames up now why you're asking these questions, and it almost it feels like their resistance is lower before you take them through that. So that was just something that struck me as a big difference.
That's great to hear.
I have a question. What if your group of clients has a couple different needs that are somewhat different to how you tailor what your solution would be? How do you assess that, even if you try to do some research up front before calling, how can you kind of pull that out of them besides saying, do you have and name 5 different reasons that are maybe kind of all in different buckets? What would be, or maybe more of like a generic approach?
Yeah. In your business, can I,
Sure.
so it's Retrotech. What do you guys do?
We're an engineering firm, and we specialize in automated storage and retrieval systems, so warehousing.
Warehouse automation, right? Getting stuff in and out the warehouse fast, right? So what you can do is look at an end state, right? Many end states have no people in them, right? It's all robotics. So there's no labor cost. So you can actually say, how do you know that you need any labor in your warehouse at all? How do you know that? Why don't we measure against that impossible standard today? Okay? And we'll strive for progress, not perfection. Right? We'll see how close we can come to that benchmark, but let's always say, let's eliminate it. It's a lights out organization, a dark organization, right? They don't need to put lights on. So that's the whole idea. I tend to look at the end result. What is the end, and asking them, is that end result, is it achievable, and should we be working on it? And sometimes it's ridiculous, but if you don't do that, you're cheating them out of their opportunity to be their best.